Hey y'all, welcome to the Filling Station. It has been an interesting day in the market. Let me say that, y'all. But let me go ahead and give my disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth, and the stock market is just one of those avenues. This video is for educational purposes only. So, with that being said, y'all, let's get started. So, we are looking at the SPY on this 30-minute chart, and looking at it from this time frame, y'all, you can see that it would not have been. It's just moving sideways, up and down. No, here this is our pre-market. We marked these levels, the gray, the lavender, here during pre-market, right? Isn't it fun? Look at how price came back to this area at the end of the day. This is something that we mark in the morning, but and price came, it stayed at this area, short, a little bit under that area, just to give you maybe a tease to think yeah, it's going to drop to the downside, only to come back to the upside. But price stayed here within this range, which why it's so important to mark the gathering spot in the mornings, because it helps us with support and resistance. But looking at it on this time frame, it would have been very difficult to trade this SPY today, right? Because if you look at it, we have we have wicks on the top and wicks on the bottom, and looking at it on a smaller time frame, which is the 5-minute chart, do you see that would have just been a lot of up and down, up and down? And look at all of the wicks at the top, and that's where your sellers are the wicks at the bottom, and that's where your buyers are. I think I took two trades today. One trade with the SPY, and it was a really decent. I bought it off of the top here, a double top here, and I came all the way down with it and got out, which I was okay with that, because sometimes you have to wait on the right move. And with the SPY today, I definitely had to wait on the right move, because this was interesting. Now, I could have bought here off of rejection. I always say buy off of rejection. I could have bought here off rejection, but look, it went up only to come sideways a little bit. This would have been the better move. This last candle at 3:30, if you got in this trade, it was a nice profitable trade. I did not take this trade. It was at 506 all the way down to the 503.83. That would have been nice. So you would have bought it, right under this ORB high, which is the green line, the green dotted line. That would have been my entry if I would have entered the SPY here all the way down, and the MACD crossing would have been my confirmation. So that would have been a decent trade. And then this last end of the day trade here would have been a nice trade. So I can see one, two, maybe three good trades with the SPY that I would have been okay with taking. I think I only took one of those, and I took one of Tesla. So I'm okay with that, and I'm grateful. Sometimes it's best to sit on the sidelines instead of trying to trade this, because you can lose a lot of money trying to trade this up and down, up and down. And as you can see, I always try to look at the higher time frame, because it gives me a bigger picture, a better view at, Didi, maybe I don't need to trade this right now. Maybe I don't need to be trading this today. Maybe I need to just sit on the sidelines and just watch, and it's okay. I'm still learning, so I'm getting knowledge, if nothing else. I know not to trade this type of activity. Let's look at Tesla. So with Tesla today, if you got in on this open, that was a really good trade, because Tesla, the high was at 158, and then the low was here at the 157.15. It was trading in a small range. So when it came down and broke out of that area, that was an entry, to the downside. So if you got in at this 157 down to the 153, that would have been a nice trade. Tesla did the up and down type thing. Once it broke here, MACD did the little touch. I call it a pivot here. That's another area that I look for entries. And that 5 and 50 crossing would have been confirmation, even though I would have already been in the trade. So once it came up here and gave us a double top, I would have definitely been out. And as you can see, the MACD started flattening here, and only to come back to the downside. So in my opinion, Tesla was definitely one of those. I traded it in the morning, and I was done with Tesla for the day, because it was just too much up and down, up and down. And as you can see it here on this 30-minute chart, it really didn't move a whole lot today. Tesla normally exceeds its ATR, meaning it normally goes past the $7 and whatever odd cents, for the ATR, and it didn't do that today. So the low was 153.75, and it looks like the high was at 158. 19. So that's not a normal, that to me that's low for Tesla. And again, we marked our gathering spot this morning, and look how Tesla traded. Normal, it traded within that range. It came down just a little bit, but it basically traded within that range for us. So again, sometimes it's best to go in when you get out when you get out, and just be done for the day. I always say take what the market gives, because sometimes it's a learning day. I say that often, right? This is Nvidia, and as you can see here, Nvidia, it was breaking out of this pre-market, right? So this would have been our gathering spot. It created another one here about 8:30. So once it broke out of that, it seemed like it traded sideways the rest of the day, meaning it would have been hard, difficult to go in and make decent profit. So today was a very, very different day. And as you can see here, looking at Nvidia, look at the wicks. It kind of reminds you of the SPY. My eye just dance all over the place when I see this, because it makes me, I look at the wicks on the top and the wicks on the bottom, and it's like an up and down type thing, and it's like, is it worth going in to try to trade this to make money? And that's something that you have to think about when you're making your trades. Is it worth is it worth the risk? That's something to think about. If I go in, and what's the probability of me making, money from this trade, versus I'm just going in and just giving money away? Because if you trade this sideways or up and down like this, that's exactly what's going to happen, just giving money away. AMD is, when I look at it on this 5-minute chart, is doing the exact same thing as the SPY and Nvidia for me. It just makes my eye dance all over the place, because it's just more of a sideways movement, and I don't do well trading that. Let me say that. Looking at it on a 30-minute time frame, it's doing the exact same thing. It's consolidating. It's an area of, I will not trade. I don't like to trade. So I sit back, I find my strategic moves, as I did. I took 2 trades today out of the hours the market was open. I took a Tesla trade and I took a SPY trade, and I waited on that SPY entry, and I'm grateful at that. So sometimes you have to just sit back again and watch the game from the sidelines, and then if you get in, that's good. If you don't, you learned a lot. You didn't lose money, right? So we go in it to make money and not lose money. So that's something to be mindful of. So we looked at Tesla, we looked at Nvidia, we looked at the SPY, and I normally go over the VIX in the morning, but I marked this level here for the VIX during pre-market, and that 1956, I said it wouldn't surprise me if it came back and tested that area, right? And it came very, very close. The high of this candle is 1945, so it came up here, kind of got, gave us, looks like a double top here, but look how it came down, and it too did the consolidation type thing, just gathered together. And I do believe that, Fed Powell spoke today, and let me see how the SPY was moving. I think that's what gave us the moves that we got today with the SPY when the Feds was when he was speaking. And, the price went up, broke through this ATR trailing stop, which is very interesting considering it could even get above, 505.08. And then all of a sudden it makes this move all the way up to 506.50. That's interesting. So in my mind, I'm thinking, what made this go up? That's what made me want to take the put to the downside, because of how it ran up. So I always say pay attention to the news, look at the economic calendar, find out when things are going to happen or when things are scheduled to take place, so that you can benefit from these type moves. Because if you were just waiting on a move today from the SPY, you may not have gotten that, but because of the information or what was said, from Fed Powell, that's why we got this move up, only to come back down. This move was from 506 all the way down to 502. It gave us a double bottom. It went back up again, gave us a hanging man, only to come back to the downside. So if you were able to, get in the last couple of hours of the market for the SPY, I said that would have been the best time to trade, because this is definitely a no trade zone for me. So y'all, I am super, super excited. Today has been a really, really good day. Even though I didn't take but 2 trades, it was still a profitable day, and I'm grateful at that. Sometimes, I always say take what the market gives, right? And don't be greedy. I am grateful and not greedy. So if I just make a small profit or small, I'm okay with the small. So we have to, that's something to be mindful of, y'all. So again, I hope these videos are very, very helpful. I so enjoyed just being able to explain how I see the market. If you could please like, share, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff, that I will really, really appreciate that. And I always like to leave you with this: be blessed as well as a blessing unto others. Until next time.